Okay. Gopal, can you see my screen? Yeah, all right, perfect. So today we will look at the second document of the real-time jobs. Yesterday we were looking at manipulating the real-time jobs. So any questions on that earlier class before we go ahead with today's class? Okay, just that is like what are the different things that we can do using an XML, because these documents are present with you. You can always refer to them as a guideline and you can start practicing on that. And today we will look at, till now we were looking at creating a bad job. So today we'll look at creating a real-time job, and executing a real-time job within the BODS designer is called testing the real-time job. It is not actual execution, it is called testing. And if you execute the real-time job using the management console, then that is called actual execution of the real-time job. Okay, we will see the second document now. So this document also has some supplement files that needs to be downloaded. So if you guys have a problem downloading these things, do let me know. I will share this attachments with you, because some supplements need, okay, they need an SID and if you don't have an SID, I can download them and send it to you. Okay, so this document concentrates on executing the real-time jobs, building the real-time jobs, and testing the real-time jobs. Okay, there is a prerequisite, this second part, to build the real-time jobs of the data services system. The prerequisite is you need to have these first 3 points set up on your system. Okay, the first one is the repository should be registered with the management console. Okay, so this is generally what we do when we create a local repository. We register the local repository with the management console. So this is mandatory for a real-time job to be executed on, to be tested or to be executed on a machine. This first step is mandatory, that you should register the local repository in the management console. The second important step is the job server should be present with adapter communication enabled. So when we were creating the job servers, we have seen something like SNMP enable and SNMP port communication. So that should be enabled on your system so that this can communicate with a mail process or a POP messages, and your job server will automatically integrate it with the real-time message services. So that is a simple checkbox that we need to enable. And the third one is an access server must be running, and it should be associated with the web administrator. So access server should also be running, and means there is a button called enable access server, and that should be enabled. So we'll see all these 3 points now. So the first one is the management console. All right, so log into the management console. So I don't think now I need to tell the navigations, because you guys already know all these things. So the navigation for this is Business Objects XI 3.2, Data Services, Management Console, or you can go from the designer start page as well. Okay, this is one more place where we can log into the management console. And I guess I already told you how to interpret the management console. This part is called the server name. 28080 is the standard port. Data services is the tool name. launch/logon.do ? is your login screen code. So this is how we interpret. So if somebody says, you can easily identify the server. Okay, so click on administrator, and first thing that we need to see, what is the first thing, the first prerequisite? The repository must be associated with the web administrator. So the terminology that they use in this document is a little kind of a weird, saying that web administrator and all those things. but they can simply say that this repository should be registered in the management console. It's kind of a twisted one. Right, so if you open this management repositories, and here we have already registered our repository, repo user 1. So repo user 1, this is our repository, and this is the database DB user 1. To cross check, you can check it here. Right, so okay, the same thing you can check here, DB user 1, and we can see the same thing over here. So this says that our repository is registered in the management console. The second step that we need to do is the job server must be present with adapter communication enabled. So I want you guys to check this one even when you are working in your projects or in the future or on the systems that you work. As per my knowledge and as per what I see, there is the first job server that you create within your machine is only eligible to enable this adapter communication, and for the rest of the job servers I was not able to. So please cross check this on your servers. Maybe there is a limitation with the systems that I work, or my system administrator who does the installations does it in this way. But out of all the job servers that I have, the first job server with port 3500 is only enabled with SNMP communication, and remaining job servers I don't have this activated here. Okay, support adapter, message broker, and SNMP communication should be enabled. Okay, so this checkbox should be enabled. So that is the reason why what we will do is we will see one more new concept, like how do we assign a single job server to multiple repositories. So we'll see that concept as well. So go to this JS local, click on edit, and this is the job server. This is the first job server that I have created on the port 3500. So support adapter, message broker, and SNMP communication. This should be checked. So if this is checked, the port default port number is 4001, and using this default port number you can communicate with the message types, the real-time message types. Okay, the WSDLs and all these things you can communicate. So to add our local repository to this one, click on add. So adding a local repository to the same job server. So this is how your real-time project architectures will look like. So you'll have multiple users, and all the users will be connected to the same job server or will be connected to a job server group. So based on the load that is applied or implied on each job server, the process gets switched between one job server to another job server. So here I had to give the database server name. Let me try this. If the job server and if the database server and database both are on your system, so you can create this one. You can just give localhost. Let me just try this. If it throws an error, then I have to get the system name. Yep, it was not able to identify this one, localhost. So what we need to do is take the SQL server name from the SQL server. Give the server name here and click on apply. So now this DB user 1 is added to the list of associated repositories in the first job server. So just cross-check when you are working on your systems or on your projects. Just try to see if this one is possible, that you can add one more job server, and on that job server, if you can see this one enabled. So just cross-check this one and click on OK. And now we have added the job server, added the repository to the job server JS local, which is the first initial job server. Cross-check this one, db_user1 is available. Click on OK, OK. And the third step that you need to see is, the access server must be enabled and associated with management console. So go to the just job server screen. You can see this SNMP status, access server configuration running on this computer. So edit access server configurations, and if you see the star mark, enable should be present. And if you click, you can just give the directory name and all those things, and check this box, enable access server. And once you take this box, this will be enabled. Click on OK, and just click on restart. It will restart the services on your machine. Once it restarts the services, your job server, your designer, your local repository will be assigned with the new job server. Okay, now this will switch on to two job servers, either your old job server or on the new job server. And whenever we are executing the real-time services, this will automatically switch to the job server where the SNMP communication is enabled. So this is what we were talking about, intelligent distribution of processing, when we were looking at the demonstration. So when we were talking about the server-based architecture and intelligent distribution of the processing, so this is how it works. So I think the services are restarted. Alright, you know where you can cross-check the services. You can go to Start, Control Panel, Administrative Tools, go to Services, Start, Control Panel, Administrative Tools, Services, and here you can see the Business Objects Data Services. Okay, you can stop this one and you can start them manually. Guys, can you please confirm if you can listen to my voice? Okay, is there a disturbance like slow in the refresh of the screen or something like that? Rishabh? Is the screen refresh rate good or it is slow? Okay, okay, just let me know if it is getting slow. I will try to switch to the another connection. Alright, so now you click on the start button to start the services, or you can just either click on this restart button. And once you are done, your services are restarted. What you need to do is like log off from your designer. Once you restart the job server, log off from your designer and try to log in back to the designer. Yeah, Rishabh, once we click on the restart, there is nothing that we need to do. You just need to log off your designer and log in back to the designer. We were just looking at how to cross-check whether your services are restarted or not. Go to the control panel, and in the control panel, go to the administrative tools, services, and this is where your services are present. The data services server services will be present here. So you can either click on restart or double click on that, stop and restart the service once again manually. But when you click on the restart button, on the job server. So this will automatically restart this particular service on the system so that your designer will be now integrated with the job server. Okay, so once you log off your system and log in, log off your designer and log in back to your designer, so your system is now physically ready to execute the real-time job. So the three prerequisites, so just remember this is a certification as well as an interview point of question. What are the three prerequisites that you need for your system to be ready to execute a real-time job? So once it is done, then these are screenshots talking about what has to be done. Alright, so now we will be adding two more XML files. One is postcode lookup request and the second one is postcode lookup reply. Okay, request and reply. So these are the two files that we'll be adding to the system to work on the real-time jobs. Okay, so let us go to the Formats tab, XML schema, right click to add a new file, browse, postcode lookup request is your source. Okay, copy the root element and give the same as the format name. Click on OK, and postcode lookup reply is your target. So if you see, when you are adding a file, it will be XSD. XSD stands for XML standard definition or schema definition. So click on OK, and once you drag and drop this into your data flow, and once you try to choose the path, you will see an XML file. So both the files should be present in XML and SSD. Alright, so now we will be creating our real-time job. The first real-time job that we'll be creating. Okay, RT. So the naming convention for the real-time jobs is RT underscore. The job should start with RT. Okay, so I'm giving the job name as RT underscore postcode lookup. Okay, so till now we were creating the job names with job underscore the description of what we are trying to do. Now we will be creating, oh sorry, I created a bad job. Remove. So to create a real-time job, right click, go for a new real-time job and give the name RT postcode lookup. Sorry. Okay, guys, is it the same for everyone? Like the screen is pretty slow and refreshing because Rishabh has that he is able to see my screen refresh very low. Is it okay with the other guys, or it's still the same? The refresh rate is slow. Jay, how about you? Okay, right, so it is slow for some of this one. Alright, just give me a second, I'll switch to another room where I can get good signal and we'll try to take the class from there. Just give me a second. Signal. Signal weak. Signal కొంచెం weak. Sorry, man. Okay. Guys, I think like I move next to this this box, the router, and I think the signal should be good enough now. So do let me know if there is the refresh rate is little slow, Gopal and Rishabh especially. All right, so now When you create a real-time job, the indication of the job is slightly different from the batch job. The batch job is indicated by a clock symbol with an arrow, and this real-time job is indicated with an envelope with an arrow, which says that this is a message type communication. And once you create a real-time job, this RT process begin and step end will be coming automatically. So you cannot see what is there in that. This is just as a tag. XML is a tagging language, so everything starts with the tags. So similarly, this one is also starting with the tags, where your job begins with sorry, RT process begin and it ends with the step ends. So now create a data flow and call it as df underscore postcode underscore LKP. Okay, now connect this one to the process begin and connect this one to the process end. Now drag these two XML files, postcode lookup request, and make it as your message source. So remember, this is thumb rule number 1 when you are especially using the XML files. So do not ever use a file source in a real-time job or message source in a batch job. So if it is a real-time job, you have to make a file as a message source or as a message target. If it is a batch job, you have to make it as a file source or a file target. So now since it is a real-time job, I'm making it as a message source and I make reply as a message target. So the next one is, if you open this message source, so you have only one postcode, and if you open the message target, so you have both postcode and address. So we have to get the address from the tables which we pushed in the previous sessions and populate the address into this one. So we'll be looking at the job. So the job looks like this. Okay, so we'll be getting this demo postcode and demo address tables, and we will try to get the address from these through two tables and build a reply in the postcode lookup target table. So now the thumb rule number 2 is you need to specify the path from where it is coming. So postcode address request. Okay, now if you see, this is an XML postcode lookup request. Click on OK, and now since this is a target file, you have to specify where it should be saved. Okay, so one second, I'm just taking the name reply. Okay, I'm trying to save this into our folder morning out. Now sorry, as we have seen here, there is one postcode DE150LQ. So we need to get the respective address for this DE150LQ and map them to this particular segment of the target. So now go to this data store, target data store, select the tables, demo address and demo postcode, drag and drop them into the data flow. Now, first task is, we have a postcode in this source XML file. Now the task is, you have to get the relevant addresses. So connect these three: query transformation, XML file, and your two tables, database tables. Okay, so this is one kind of an OCD that you get when you work more with the tool. You can't see them improper, you always try to put them in the right format. So that's the problem. First one is build reply. So I have to build a reply saying that I have to get the address from this table. So for this address to be a proper address, I have to give a where condition saying that the postcode from the XML file is equal to the postcode, okay, is equal to the postcode from the database table, and the postcode ID of the address table is equal to the postcode ID of the postcode table. So to get a relevant address out of this, what I am trying to do is, now here D150LQ is the postcode. Okay, right. So Gopal says that voice and screen is not in sync. So is it okay with the rest of the guys, or you want me to log off and log into the meeting once again? Sorry. Okay, so for some, we'll try doing something like Gopal and Rishabh, can you just log off and try to log in, because Jay has no problem with him, because for him the system is the system and the voice both are in sync. Gopal, can you please log off and try to log in? If it is not resolved, I will try to log off and log into